So, okay. So today is July, I don't even know the date now.
It's the 26th.
All right, today is July 26th. It's a good thing someone knows what's going on around here other than myself. And I'm Rebecca Mavenkamp interviewing.
Arlene Mutterer.
Okay, and could you spell your name for us, please?
Arlene. Mutterer is Mutterer.
Okay, and do you have a maiden name?
Yes, Ketnacker.
And how would you spell that?
Kettenacker.
Okay. And did you grow up in this area?
I grew up in Greenfield, yeah.
Okay, and what year were you born?
I was born in 1940.
Okay,
Moved to Greenfield in 1947.
okay.
And I went to country school in Greenfield.
Which one?
Twin Pond Country School. It's on 10.
Okay. What would it be near today that people would recognize?
It's on old Greenfield Road and 10, the corner. There's somebody lives there. It's in a house. It's a house now,
Okay,
and someone lives in it.
okay. How many years did you go to school there?
5. And then I went to Rockford School after that.
For high school?
Yes,
Okay,
and 7th and 8th grade.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what year did you get married?
1960.
To?
Eugene Mutter.
And how do you spell his first name?
Eugene.
Okay. And did you have any children?
We have 2 children,
Okay.
Connie and Paul.
Okay. And do they live in the area too?
Yes, they do. Connie lives by Lake Martha, and Paul lives in Rockford Township.
Okay. So I understand that you know a little bit about having fun in Rockford Greenfield area.
I don't know. I guess I did. I grew up there. I mean, so you're asking. I did not know that much about Lake Sarah as you're asking, because I don't. I mean, I went to the dances there sometimes, but I was not in like Betsy was, because she worked there. I mean, her parents owned it.
Well, if people like you didn't go to the dances, she wouldn't have had a dance hall to work at, right?
That's right.
So when would you go to the dances?
Well, most of the time they were on Sunday nights. Saturday night might be a wedding dance, and that may or may not be, could have been private or public.
Oh, okay.
Because some people had a public wedding dance,
Okay.
but and you'd go if you were invited, yeah, would be when you would go.
But you usually went to the ones on Sundays?
Once, not usually, but sometimes did, yeah.
What made you want to go to the dances?
Well, that was a social hangout for people to go. You'd go to see the other kids. We'd all hang out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who were the people that you used to hang out with?
My school friends.
What were their names?
I don't remember. So.
And did you arrange it ahead of time?
We did, because I didn't have a car, so I had to rely on if somebody would pay. I had no other means, and if I got a ride there to and from there. Those were the days when I didn't have access to a vehicle.
One car per family?
Yes. And I didn't start driving until I was about 18 or so.
Okay.
Because I didn't have a vehicle to drive.
Sure. Were there any farm vehicles that you drove?
Well, we had a tractor, but I didn't drive it. No, I was not. We only had one tractor, so.
So you helped out on the farm?
Well, part-time, yeah, but I worked out too, after school.
Doing what?
Well, first I babysat and then I waitressed. I was a waitress at down in Rockford there was a little restaurant down by the river there that was it's called the drive-in. I mean, it wasn't a drive-in per se, but you could drive into the parking lot and come in then.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was like hamburgers, and it was the Mutterer restaurant, and her main thing was homemade pie.
Oh,
Well, people would stop there for their homemade pie. She was famous for her pies.
wow. What kind of pies?
What kind do you want? Apple, blueberry, lemon, pecan,
Wow.
whatever, she would make all kinds.
And what was her name?
Elsie Mutterer,
Elsie.
yeah,
Elsie?
right.
Okay. And did she work it as a partnership with?
She and her husband owned it. John and Elsie Mutterer owned it.
Okay.
They were the owners.
And are they relations of yours?
Well, Johnny is, because he was a cousin to my husband, but he was also a cousin to me,
Okay.
because Johnny's mother was a Kentnacker,
Ah,
so he was also related to me.
okay.
So that's who I was related to, was Johnny.
Okay. How many years did you waitress there?
Oh, 4 or 5 maybe, and then I started working at the Rockford House as a
Oh.
waitress.
Okay.
And I waitressed there for about 5 years. When I was first married, I worked there because I could go to work at 5 o'clock, and then when we have little children, I was home during the day with them, but then at night, my husband would be home, so I didn't have to get a babysitter.
Sure.
So I'd work part-time. I didn't work full-time. I'd work 3-4 nights a week.
So 5 o'clock until when?
Until 1. They closed at 1, so it'd be about 1:30 before you get home.
That makes for a long day the next day. When you have kids waking up.
Yes. We had some incidents I can remember.
At the restaurant or at home?
I was just thinking of my daughter with getting into my lipstick, and when I woke up, she woke me up and said, "Mommy, I'm so pretty," and she had lipstick all over herself. All over her lips and all over, of course, way over her face.
I think every little girl has done that.
I just thought of that now.
Oh, that's
So I
funny.
don't know, the Rockford House, then they had a bowling alley there, and people went there for a social. But that's Rockford, not Greenfield, I guess.
I'm sure Greenfield people came over to the Rockford house.
Oh,
though.
yes, they did. That was a kind of a fancy nightclub, when it was built in the 40s.
Okay.
I mean, for that time, it was a nice place to go and have dinner and have drinks.
Can you describe what the building looked like for me?
Well, it was a long building that had a bar, and then it had a big dining room on the side.
Okay.
And in the 50s, they were one of the first people to get air conditioning.
Really?
So people like to go there, and on a hot summer night, they were always very busy because that was a good place to cool off and have a drink or a meal.
Okay. So most people didn't have air conditioning in their homes in the 50s?
No, I don't think it wasn't even, I'm thinking that was more in the 60s before that really came in.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I know they were one of the first, because that was kind of their claim to fame, too.
Why did they decide to put it in?
Well, for comfort for people, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a good business decision.
Oh, I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of food did they serve?
They serve steak and chicken and shrimp and barbecued ribs and lobster. A real nice dinner menu. And of course they had burgers too, but they really had a nice dinner menu.
And so you waitressed on the weekends?
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay.
And then, I know Monday night I always waitress too.
Okay.
so.
Did you have regulars that would come in?
Oh, yes. Yes, we do.
And they would order the same thing?
They do. It's interesting when you're a waitress, you didn't know their name, but you knew what they were going to eat, what they were going to order, especially their drinks, because they always would drink the same thing.
What would they like to drink?
Well, whatever, it didn't matter. I mean, there's some like beer, some like liquor, or someone would like a glass of wine. I mean, they would tell, but I almost knew when they sat down what they were going to order for a drink.
Huh.
Because they would always order the same thing.
Were there booths that they were sitting in then?
They had, well, I was in the booth. I didn't wait at the bar.
Okay.
Yeah, I would wait at the booth. We were waitresses for the booths.
Okay. Was it carpeted?
No, it was not carpeted. They had like a tile floor.
Oh. Do you remember what color it was?
Browns, I think browns, I recall.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did they have hanging on the walls?
It was paneling.
Okay.
Yeah, that time what paneling was in.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Any art that was hanging on the walls?
I don't remember any art.
You were too busy working.
Well, I don't think there was any.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And you said there was a bowling alley?
Well, yeah, and then they had a bowling alley too, and that brought people. And that was on the other end. They added that in the 50s.
Okay.
And a lot of people went there bowling, so that was a place for people to go. And
did they have leagues like they do
oh,
today?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they had leagues. Yeah, and there was, of course, at that time was a nice bowling alley.
How many lanes?
I don't know, but I want to say 8 maybe. I don't know
So
for
it's
sure.
a pretty big place.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever go bowling after work?
No, I didn't. Now, Lon Torbla that lives in Rockford, his parents owned it, so
Oh.
you could talk with him.
Well, can you spell his name?
Lon Torbla, Torbla.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you said you worked there for a couple years?
Yes, about 5 years.
Okay.
Because I thought when I worked on waitress 10 years.
Wow.
I do both. Well, I did other. When I went to after school, I went to business school, and I had a job, and then I still waitress on I would waitress on weekends and sometimes.
Okay. Through school.
Yeah, and even after I got the job, I just would sometimes.
Okay.
And then after I worked more after I quit from the other job and after my kids were born.
Sure. You said people would come from all over for the pies.
Oh yeah, they would be yeah, her restaurant, the one downtown, Johnny's Drive-In there, they would come, say they lived in, it used to be people from Alexandria used to come through Rockford to go to Minneapolis, because that was before the freeway.
Okay.
And so
Was Highway 55?
Highway 55, they would come from the west, and then say, like Al Mullen talks about when he lived in Belgrade, when they'd go to Minneapolis, they always stopped there as a kid.
Oh, okay.
To have, well, probably hamburgers and a pie, always a pie.
Sure.
And that was kind of a little restaurant you could stop in if you were in the city for the day, and it was kind of out in the country, and you were on your way back to wherever you were going.
Okay.
So that was, but a lot of local people ate there too.
Sure.
Because it was a good restaurant to eat at.
Yeah. So it was open from breakfast through late night?
Well, about 10 o'clock at night.
Okay.
It went through the dinner hour, yeah.
And there was hamburgers and things for dinner?
Oh, they have, they have roast beef dinners and ham, and they would have fried chicken, and, I mean, they
Oh,
had a
wow.
full service menu,
Okay.
so. And they had, served a lot of malts, I remember making malts.
Oh, okay.
And they're a work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you
Yeah.
don't look like this is a good memory.
I mean, no, I didn't mind making, but you always had, if somebody ordered a malt, you had to go make it, always. And they had malt machines, but I mean, it was always something to,
How did you make them?
well, you put ice cream and milk and the flavoring in there and the malt powder, and then stick it under those malt machines,
Okay.
and it was stirred up.
How many scoops of ice cream?
I don't remember. 2 or 3.
Were they the tall glass?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It'd be full when you got done. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much they sold for?
No. No, I don't. 30 cents maybe. I'm thinking, I don't know. I think pie and ice cream was 35 cents.
How big were the pieces of pie?
Oh, normal.
Oh,
Normal
okay.
size.
Okay.
Well, when I started working there in the 50s, all of us, we made 65 cents an hour. That's the wages, at that time.
Was that pretty typical for waitressing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
When we first started it, when you're a teenager, that's what the wages were.
So if
So
you're
I-
making 65 cents an hour, it'd be half hour's worth of work to buy a piece of pie and ice cream?
Oh. No, if you worked there, you could have a piece of pie, and she would let you have a piece of pie.
Okay.
Yeah, you could have a
Okay.
piece on your shift.
Okay.
You could have a piece. No, she was never told you. It was okay. If you wanted a piece of pie, you could have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite kind?
Well, I don't know. I suppose the apple is still my favorite.
Okay.
So,
What did the inside of that building look like?
no, it was little. It only had three booths, and then it had a counter that kind of weaved in and out. So maybe there was, I suppose the counter could hold about 25 people.
Wow.
Well, 3 here, 3 there, and maybe 20 people.
Okay.
I'm thinking back. But anyway, that would. You'd have people sometimes lined up to sit down too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you were waitressing, you were behind the counter for the most part?
Or could be, and you'd also be out going to the booths.
Okay.
Yeah. Wherever people needed help.
Did a lot of kids come after school for the malts?
Oh, I don't remember that because I don't think kids could afford them
Okay.
that much. A malt was a treat in those
Sure.
days. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking.
Which meant that the kids had to have cheap fun.
Yeah, kids didn't have money for that. They might come in and get an ice cream cone, because we sold cones too.
Okay. How much were those?
Yeah, I don't know. I think 10 cents, but I can't. I think that's about what they were. For 2 scoops. If you only want, I'm trying to think. If it was 10, if you got 2 scoops, was it 15 cents or was it 5 and 10? It was something like that.
Okay.
Things were cheaper then. But then your money was cheaper too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
At the time, that was a lot. I know wages were just low.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
How did you get to work?
sometimes I got a ride, sometimes I walked, both ways.
How far was it?
I lived 3 miles out of town.
Okay.
And sometimes, I worked after school, so I'd walk, right, go from school.
Where was the school in
Right
Rockford?
downtown Rockford, where the middle school is now.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
that was no problem. After school, you just walk down to the restaurant.
That was just a couple blocks then.
Yeah. Mhm.
So what time did you get off of work on those nights?
Well, it depends on the business. If there was a busy night, you work later, and if it was a slow night, and they might let you off earlier. It was up to the owners.
Probably 8 or 9.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
And then your parents were okay with you walking home in the dark?
Oh, no, I didn't walk home then, no. I would, a lot of times I also, they had a little girl that I would babysit. I'd go home with her and then stay with her, and then I'd stay overnight at their place.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
She'd be down there, but she would be tired of being there and wanna go home, and they'd have me go home with her, and then I'd stay with her, and I'd stay overnight and then go to school the next day.
Oh, okay. Because they wouldn't get home until midnight, probably.
Well, they probably didn't get home till
Yeah,
10:30,
okay.
yeah.
So when did you do homework?
Oh, I don't know, I did it whenever I could, I suppose. I don't ever remember having a problem doing my homework. I haven't even thought about it, I don't know.
So you didn't have a whole lot of time in high school for entertainment and fun things, it doesn't sound like.
Well, I did, I didn't work all the time, no, I just worked sometimes,
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you do for fun then?
Well, as kids, we'd go with our parents, like a lot of times, to relatives' places.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of it, or we'd go to the movies in Delma, or, that was a big movie house, it wasn't big, but that was where the movies were. We went to a movie.
Would you mind if we shut this just a little bit for the wind and the...
Oh, okay.
No, I will shut it.
Sorry about that.
I need to shut from the outside, because it's cranky, so.
Thank you so much.
That'd be on TV too.
All part of history.
Oh. So
So
I
then-
don't, yeah, go ahead.
You said you went to movies in Delano.
Yeah.
Was that the only movie theater?
No, there was
nearby?
one in Buffalo too,
Okay.
around, but there was none in Rockford. There were free movies. Well, in the summer, I think Hanover had free movies one night a week in the summer.
At the theater?
No, outside, they would put up a screen, and then they, everybody could come with their car. We'd come with our blankets, and we'd sit on the blankets and watch the movie.
So like they've started doing again with the movies in the park?
Yeah, it was like that.
Okay.
And I don't remember, Rockford might have had a couple too, but not very often. So they did that.
If they were in Rockford, would they have been down at Riverside Park?
Well, that wasn't a park then, that was, people lived there then.
Okay.
When I grew up, there were houses all over there.
Okay.
That's not only been a park recently, that isn't, before the 1965 flood, there were a lot of houses down there.
Okay.
And after that, they started, I think after that is when they started buying up houses.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Help preserve them.
yeah, well, yeah.
So where would they have had the movies?
Well, they, probably on Mechanic Street, I think they just roped off the street, and they just have it on the street, and then,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and have it there. East of the bridge there.
Okay. So where was the Rockford house located?
That was on Highway 55, up on the hill. Right now, there's that strip mall.
Okay.
It used to be there.
Where Billy's is?
Yeah, next to Billy's,
Okay.
not where Billy's is, but next to that next mall there.
Okay.
That used to be, it burned down about 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the Rockford house was. It was up on the hill. There was really nothing else there then. That was it. So,
It must have taken up quite a amount of space.
well, I guess, right now there's that mall there, that strip mall, there's like a pizza place there and that, so that's kind of where the space it took up,
Okay.
yeah. And there was parking in the front and on the side, yeah.
What about the cafe?
What about it?
Where was that located?
Right downtown on 55, right by the bridge on 55, down below the hill.
Okay.
Right now, there's nothing there because there's that garage,
Hanson's?
garage, and then where the cars are all parked, that's where the restaurant was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they tore it
Okay.
down,
Okay.
yeah.
So the business district has moved quite a bit in Rockford lately. If you're saying a lot of it was along 55, those restaurants?
Well, those two were, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There were still businesses down Main Street?
When I grew up, oh yeah. And there were grocery stores, two
Okay.
grocery stores, and now we have none. Yeah. So,
How about Greenfield?
Greenfield didn't have businesses, like, Holiday is up there now, and that, where Ace Hardware, all that was, but that was recent too, I mean, within the last 30 years, that was not there when I grew up.
Okay. What was there when you grew up?
Well, just on undeveloped land,
Okay.
yeah.
It was all farms?
Yeah, I don't know if they were farming it, if it was woods or what, yeah, yeah.
So in the 40s and 50s, when you were talking about Greenfield,
Yeah, it wasn't there in the 50s, and in the 50s, I can remember some of the other places, like there was a tavern up there on County Road 50 and Greenfield Road, that was called, well, now I can't remember the name of it, but
is that the Transformer?
Transformer Inn, that's right, that was there.
Did you go up there too?
Sure, as a kid, my dad would go there, so we'd go along. And it was an interesting place, because I think if you had the money, you could buy a beer. Not that I had a beer, but I know, well, my dad did, and I know my mother, but I mean, kids could go in there at early age and have a beer. Didn't seem to matter at all.
Was there a drinking age?
Oh, sure, 21.
Okay.
Yeah, but people I know they would, young kids would go up there and have a beer, yeah. So that was that was a hangout too, but then it burned down, I think.
Oh, do you remember when that happened?
I suppose in the 50s, I don't know. Then there was another tavern on the way to Delano, it's in Greenfield, there on 50, on the Brookside Inn they called it. It was right on the corner there where, if you're going on 50 and you're going to go to Delano, there's that sharp turn, you turn to the right, right on that corner, there was a tavern there too.
Okay.
And that burned down also. They seemed to burn down.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
Who owned the Brookside, do you know?
I don't know. I don't remember who did.
Now, when you say tavern, was it mostly a bar with hamburgers?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, and when you say restaurant, you mean more of the full sit-down meal?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they were just taverns, I call them. Some people call them beer joints.
Right, right. I just wanted to
Yeah.
be clear.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lake Rebecca also had a place where the park is now, where they had a resort there too.
Oh, what was the name of that?
I don't know, but I remember going there
Okay,
as a kid.
okay.
It's right where the swimming is now. If you went to Lake Rebecca Park and went swimming, it's right there.
Okay.
Where the swimming is. But I can't think of the name of it.
So they were a food place as well?
Yeah, you could get food there, and I can remember going there with my parents, stopping there.
For the food, was that one of the resorts?
Yeah, it was a resort.
Okay. But did you stay overnight?
Oh, no, we just went to the bar or whatever, where they had the bar,
Sure.
yeah.
What kind of people would stay at the resort?
I don't even know, I just know it was called a resort there, and they had little cabins, so I know there were people that stayed overnight. So I don't know, like they used to say at Lake Sarah, people used to come out on the, my grandpa would talk about how they'd come out on the train, and their train would stop there, there was little, and they'd stay in the, they would stay in, they'd stay there for the weekend, there used to be, on Highway 55 across from the lake, there was that big house. There was, probably before your time, but there was a big house there.
Okay.
It had lots of rooms. And that was where they were like rooms for boarding
Okay.
rooms,
Okay.
yeah.
So if you weren't staying at the resort, you could stay at the boarding rooms?
Well, that was Lake Sarah now, I'm skipping around here, but
Yeah.
that's at Lake Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually Highway 55 was not there. I mean, the railroad was there and it would stop, the trains must have stopped at a lot of places in the old days, because then they would stop there and leave people off.
Yeah, it took a long while to get somewhere.
Yeah, it did. And then when I was a kid, I remember there was a little round building down there by the lake on the south side or on the north side of Lake Sarah, but in Greenfield, but on the south side of the highway. And that was a little place where the guy would sell ice cream cones, and maybe he sold ice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might have a picture of that actually. See if this is what you're talking about.
And I think he was only open in the summer. I mean, he probably lived there.
I guess I don't have the picture with me.
Oh, what kind of pictures have you got there?
Well, there's a little map here. Does that help you jog your memory a little bit?
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, it's called Frederick's Resort then, huh? Must have been called Frederick's Resort.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's where it would be.
And then I have, this is of Hillcrest, this picture is Hillcrest. Are those pretty typical cabins that you remember?
Yeah, they look like that. Okay, so they could get off on the train and go to Hillcrest also then,
Okay.
because that's close enough here.
Sure.
I mean, I think the train would probably stop right here, and they could go to any of those.
So where did you say the train stopped?
Well, I'm guessing about right here.
Okay, so
Right in here
you're
someplace.
between Fredericks and...
Yeah, so
and
they could go to
Hillcrest,
any of
okay.
those, yeah.
Okay.
See, I remember my, aunts talking about working there in the summertime.
Oh,
When they
your
were-
aunts did?
When they were young, they would go help there.
What would they do?
I don't know, whatever they, I suppose get the cabins ready.
Okay, so clean the cabins?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
guessing that's what they would have done. This is 1922.
You don't remember any other stories they told you?
I'm trying to think about them. No, I can't say anything specific at all. I just remember them talking about it.
Sure.
Like they had piano lessons at the Stork House.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, fun. I didn't know that.
Yeah. This
From-
Florida.
Okay, Jessie?
Yeah, Jessie Florida gave them piano lessons.
Oh, fun.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
knew she gave piano lessons, and I knew Carrie did as well, but
Okay. Now who's Carrie?
that'd be Jessie's older sister
Oh,
by
okay.
10 years.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it was Carrie, but it was one of the Floridas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
would
my
have
dad.
been...
That would have been my dad's sisters.
Okay.
They lived on 50 there, right up the hill from town.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would have been in the 20s as well?
Right.
Okay.
Early 20s. Yeah. Yeah, even maybe the late teens. I'm trying, well, about, in the 20s, I'd say.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah,
to
in the
me.
20s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they would have been, trying to think when they were born and the ages.
So these were your dad's sisters?
My
you
dad's
said?
sisters, yeah.
Okay, and what was your dad's name?
Norman Ketnacker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what were the aunts' names then?
Well, there was Helen and Irene and Gladys and Alice and I think I said that already. Ruby and Erna.
Okay.
He had 6 sisters.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just 2 of them that worked at the resorts?
Well, I don't know. I can't say. I just remember offhand talking about
Okay.
working at the resorts.
Okay.
Because then there was a resort also in Rockford on, well, down by the river. Right now, if you go through Autumn Oaks, if you go on the first road there under the railroad track and you go straight back, there was a resort down there.
What was the name of that?
I think Woods had it. Woods was their last name.
Hmm.
But I don't know the name of the resort.
Were there any other ones hiding that we don't know about?
I don't know. Yeah, you have that one there on the Greenfield. You were not in Greenfield. The one on the south side of Lake Sarah too. That was a resort, but you got it down here. Shady Beach.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. So, I think it was probably popular because people would come out from the city and that was close enough
Yeah,
for them to go to a resort. Kind of like Lake Minnetonka was big in the 20s
right,
for resorts.
right.
Yeah,
And I'd heard that some people even stayed all summer.
probably. They probably did. Yeah, it's very possible.
No, Betsy was telling me that she spent a lot of time cleaning out the boats, the flat bottom boats
Oh,
after
sure.
it rained.
Oh, because they rented boats, I bet.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, because I went fishing when I was a kid. My uncle took me and my brother there fishing, and we went out in on this where that little round thing was. I told you that's where we went we went fishing there. He took his boat down there. There used to be a access there,
Oh,
but it
okay.
wasn't really a public access. It was just an access. Well, I'm not sure, but anyway, it was between those 2 resorts.
Okay.
And then we'd go fishing there. I know that. We went out fishing.
Did you bring your own boat?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they had rentals there, though, too.
Okay.
But, so I think it was that was a resort that,
Sure.
yeah. Or it was the man that had the round, that was selling the ice cream and beverages there that you could buy.
Did you know his name?
Mm-mm,
Okay.
no.
Did you ever get a treat from the stand?
Sure, I'm sure we got an ice cream cone or something like that. Yeah. That was, I don't know if it was there all the time, but just when I was real little, it was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What kind of fish did you catch?
Sunfish.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess they still do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know if the resort owners would cook the fish for the people staying there?
I don't know that. I don't know. I would guess they would, but I don't know that.
Okay.
You'd think so.
Would make sense.
Yeah.
Did it look, when you were a kid going fishing, did it look very similar to how it does today?
Well, yes and no. The lake looks the same, but there's so much more built around it now. Yeah.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
permanent homes.
There wasn't that many homes around there like there is now, almost all the way around. Yeah.
When did those start getting built?
50s and 60s, yeah.
Okay.
People started building. And onward,
Right.
yeah. don't know what else I can add here. I'm racking my brain, I can't think of what else you.
There's a couple other photos I have of the area.
Like Sarah Bowen's cottage. Oh, that's that big house. Yeah,
Which one is the house you were
right
mentioning?
here.
Okay, Bones Cottage is what it's called?
Bowen's residence, L. Bowen.
Okay.
It looks like it anyway. Then it quit being a resort because my husband's grandparents bought that place.
Oh, okay.
Because after it was not a resort anymore, and they lived there. So my husband had been in that house. I had never been in there, but he was in there.
Okay.
And
What were their names?
Black. Their last name was Black.
Okay.
And yeah, my mother-in-law was there and was living there when she got married. So.
And about what year was that, do you think?
Oh, trying to think. — 1923 or something.
Okay.
And she got married.
The busy time.
Yeah, that's when she got married.
Okay.
So then it was no longer a resort then. So they must have bought it about 1920 or something
Sure.
in that area.
And that was your husband's grandparents?
Parents.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. See if you have any others.
I've got a Levi Bowen camp.
Okay. Well, that looks like probably across the road towards the lake, yeah. Right from that house.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an interesting picture.
Yeah, they're fun to look at.
Right, and here's the railroad track. Okay.
Did you ever see any of the passenger trains?
As a kid, I think they had them, I just don't really recall them too much. You know, my grandpa talks about when, growing up, when he was here, when he was young, how they would leave there was a depot up there on 50 there on the railroad track, and how they would go and get them with the horses and their, whatever buggy, and then they'd take them downtown to Historic Site 11 there, that was the hotel.
Okay.
That's where they would stay. He talked about that. He remembered that.
So he would actually take them?
Well, he just remembered people doing that. He didn't do it, no.
Okay.
But he remembered that being done.
Okay. Would it have been the resort owners that would have done that?
I assume somebody, well, I don't know who, but I guess. But anyway, he remembered, they said, yeah, they would bring them down and they'd stay in that hotel.
Huh.
And, you know, people still live in it today.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's an old building.
Yeah. Yeah, Betsy was saying how they would get the boats as well and move people across the lake from the depot.
Okay, that was the depot at Lake Sarah, and I'm talking about the
Yeah.
depot up in town here.
In Rockford?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So the Rockford Depot people went to the Rockford Hotel?
Well, some of them did. I suppose they went wherever they wanted to, but yeah. But they could go, that's where, he remembered, he told us about that.
Okay.
The West Hotel, he called it.
The West Hotel? Because it was on the west side? This one is, I think, Shady Beach.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I recognize that. Okay. Yeah, went to a wedding there once.
There's some other pictures of Shady Beach here as well. You said you went to a wedding at Shady Beach?
Yes. I was 12. Now I remember that how old I was is because I and my cousin, we got to be waitresses.
Oh.
We thought it was Man, we thought that was cat's pajamas, of course. He was a good friend of the family.
It's fun how little things like that make you feel
Yeah.
so grown up, and
Yeah.
they mean so much.
Yeah.
So this is, it says Lake Sarah Pavilion. It says 1932 through 1964.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's a little bit more recent.
Is that Betsy? No. Halloween, 1964, okay. Popcorn Girls. Yeah. Lots of things happened in the dance hall in between. It was like Whoopi John was one of the players. I mean, it was always like old time music in those days. And then a lot of stuff was happening outside too, I'm sure.
Like what?
Well, people would gather around. They didn't, and I say kids hang out. Well, they didn't all go inside. They just hang out outside and
Oh, okay.
talk and party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you had the dance going on inside, but a lot of people
were all still outside.
hanging
Yeah.
around outside,
Yeah.
causing trouble.
Well, they could have, yeah. Yeah, I just know when you went out, if you were inside and you went outside, there would be a lot of people outside,
Sure.
outside also.
Whoopi John has been mentioned a number of times as a favorite.
Okay, is that funny? Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember that was one of them, and I suppose it's because of the name I remember.
It's a unique name.
Yeah. And Six Fat Dutchman was another one.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure Betsy would know them all. Ivan Kale, he was more modern.
Oh, that's a new one.
Yeah.
What do you mean by more modern?
I think he was more smooth. It was more like the swing music.
Okay.
It was old time, but with more of a swing
Okay.
sound to it.
How did that not be? It wasn't as popular.
I don't know, but I just remember that. He had his own. You know how, well, everybody has a different twist to their music or whatever, it comes on like that.
Okay. So did the wedding dances hire people like Whoopi John as well, or were they different bands?
They could have, yeah. I don't know. I think that, yeah, they could have that. I think whoever, if you wanted a wedding dance there, I'm sure they got whatever band you wanted.
Okay.
If if the band was not busy,
Okay.
yeah.
I've
Or
heard-
they would get you a band.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had a list that they.
Oh, I'm sure
Call.
they did. And, well, yeah, because they would get paid to come.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Especially if it was a public wedding.
Yeah.
I've heard Whoopi John could charge more than the others.
I bet he did. I bet that was true, yeah. Because they needed to do that so they could pay the band.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he had a larger band than the others.
okay.
Right?
I don't know,
Oh,
could be,
okay. Yeah, that's what I
okay,
heard.
yeah,
A few more members.
okay.
So, yeah, this was a schedule from the Lake Sarah Ballroom.
Oh, yeah, there it tells, Ivan Kale, right there.
Ta-da!
Okay, the wedding dance, they don't say who was playing. Jolly Lumberjacks, okay, remember that one?
So, where did you learn to dance?
There, I suppose, I don't know. Well, yeah, well, I suppose I learned at wedding dances, because when we were growing up, we'd go to a wedding, they'd have a wedding dance, and the kids would all go, and we'd dance with our cousins. That's how you learn. Well, here you got all kinds of resorts, yeah. Now, is this from Betsy?
It's from the Greenfield Historical Society.
Oh, okay. At all to her future husband for a long time. Did Betsy tell you she had 10 children?
I think she mentioned there was a bunch.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you go to school with her?
No, she was older than I,
Okay.
but she went with my husband, which was at school with my husband.
Oh, okay.
So. 700 tickets, wow. Well, I remember when you went there, they sold beer, but they didn't sell alcohol. You would buy what they called setups. In other words, you would get glasses and ice, and then in your glasses you could say you wanted sour, or you wanted 7-Up, or you wanted Coke in there, and then you put your own booze in there.
Oh.
That's how they worked it. They didn't sell the booze to you. They sold only beer and setups.
Oh, okay. So
And then you added your own liquor.
So you'd bring a flask with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how they used to do it. Yeah, bring your own booze.
Huh.
Now, I don't know if that was, well, they probably didn't have a liquor license to
Okay.
do that.
Okay.
But they could do that other, if you brought your own, they sure had permission to do that, but that's how they did that.
Okay.
So I would guess if you drank too much, they wouldn't be liable then either.
Right.
You know.
Right, because they didn't sell the alcohol.
Yeah. But that's so, I think most dances, as I remember, and when we were first married, we'd go to a lot of dances, and not, because that was, well, we went there, but we went to other places too, but that's what we did.
Okay.
Yeah. You would take your own liquor. So,
Nobody would do that today.
no, you can't do that now.
Hmm.
But that was the sign of the times then.
Sure.
Yeah.
When did things start to change? You know, from the resorts and that sort of lifestyle, and a little bit more easygoing with the alcohol and having minors around.
Well, I think in the 60s, must have. You know, late 50s, probably. Maybe 60s, in the 60s, I'd say.
Do you have any ideas why it started to change?
Well, I think they cracked down on people for drunk driving and all, don't you? I would
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. Make it safer,
Okay.
you know, so you didn't kill somebody.
Okay. So you get the abuse of the privilege.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm guessing that's what it was.
Okay.
I didn't experience it, so I don't, yeah.
Let's see, I think we're back to the beginning that I showed
Okay.
you originally.
Okay.
So anything else you can think of that you'd like to add?
I don't know. I guess not. I don't know of anything else.
You remembered a lot as we went.
Oh, things, you start recalling things, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm done.
Well, if you think of anything else, will you call
Sure.
and we'll sit down again?
Okay.
That'd be wonderful.
All right.
So thank you very much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate your time doing this.
You're welcome.
Really do appreciate it. So,
Okay.
so thank you.
You're welcome.
No, really, it's such a neat thing when little things come up, because a lot of people, nobody talked about the other cafes and bowling alleys and movie theaters
Oh.
either. You know, they were very
Well, we didn't really have a movie theater in Rockford or Greenfield, you know, so there really wasn't one. But,
Right.
you know, we would go over to Delton. My mother and, we went to a lot of musicals. My mother loved musical movies, so
Okay.
we would go over. And my dad liked music. My dad's family loved music. They were big music people. So they would, so we'd go over to the movie in Delano then.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, but that's important because you couldn't have been the only people in Rockford and Greenfield going to Delano for the movies. So
No, you'd see people you knew
Right.
over there.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
so it has
So-
to have been pretty normal.
I mean, that was our big entertainment. I mean, we didn't, in those days. So,